We are finally back. FNCS is starting this week, but before it actually starts, I wanted to update you guys on all of the official trios, where they are landing, who is contested, and the potential that I currently think each of these trios have before FNCS starts. Before this video starts though, please subscribe to the channel if you guys are new, as we try our best to upload daily competitive content for you guys. If you guys want to support me even more, the best way to do so is by using code KDOG in the Fortnite item shop. We have a lot of different teams to go over though, so let's just get this video started. All right, so let's start this video off with probably one of the most impactful off-spawn fights on all of EU. We currently have the triple contest at Resistance Base between three separate trios that are trying to qualify for LAN. We have Rax, Belusi, and Zangi, Mixin, Uppel, and Focus, and then of course, Mr. Savage, Rezon, and Chap. Now, if you guys are wondering how this off-spawn fight has been going, from the things that I have been seeing, it seems like Mr. Savage, Rezon, and Chap are absolutely owning Rax's trio off-spawn, and it seems like the main fight that this is going to come down to is Mr. Savage, Chap, and Rezon versus Mixin, Uppel, and Focus. Now, from the tournaments that we have seen and the scrim sessions as well, so far Mixin, Uppel, and Focus have had Mr. Savage's number, and Mixin's trio has looked like the best off-spawn fighting team in this entire situation right here. I think if we were just talking about Mr. Savage's ceiling and floor in this grand finals, I would have to say as of right now, his ceiling is still qualifying for LAN. I see a lot of people being really skeptical about this trio right now, saying things like, oh, they're not even going to make it to grand finals, and this trio is going to like split up before then and all that sort of stuff. I, as of right now, do not believe that. I do think that this team will be sticking together all the way up until grands. They will play grand finals together, and it seems like a lot of what they are hoping for right now is that both Rax's trio and Mixin's trio just don't qualify for grands. I could maybe see Rax's trio not making it, but there is no way that Mixin, Uppel, and Focus do not make grand finals. Those are all top 10 grand finals players. If Mr. Savage's trio is going to make grands, then Mixin's trio is 100% going to as well. If they are contested in grands, it is going to be very difficult and a very uphill battle for their LAN qualification dreams. I think their floor is really like a bottom 10 in this grand finals. We've already seen them place dead last in a cash cup before this season when they were contesting for Doxy off spawn. If things continue to not go their way off spawn, and I think honestly if they are just contested in general, we have to say that there is a higher chance that they do not make LAN compared to them being able to. But if they are completely uncontested, there is still a lot of other super high quality trios on EU that are trying to make LAN as well. They are in a very difficult position right now, and they are going to need the script to be almost perfect for the Mr. Savage, Chap, and Rezon trio to be able to book their ticket to France. Let's talk about some other trios we have here. We have like Venya, Pixie, and Marius right now contested by Hyper, Ghost, and Jewel. I'm not 100% sure how committed Hyper's trio is actually going to be to Flooded Frogs if they're able to make grand finals. I think a lot of us can probably agree that if Venya, Pixie, and Marius are going to be fully uncontested in this grands, they have to have FNCS winning potential, and they really could be the first team on EU to go back-to-back that we have seen since trios has officially came back. I think one of the other main potential off-spawn fights that we're going to have to keep an eye out for is this one right here between Radion, Zara, and Rickbor versus Ferdoxy, Pablo, and Chino. I really do believe that if Ferdoxy's team is going to be fully uncontested in this grand finals, they have about as high of a chance as anyone to be able to win this grands. But if they are going to be contested in grand finals, Ferdoxy is the type of player that tries to prove a point, and I wouldn't be surprised if this just turns into a total off-spawn grief fest, and Ferdoxy will probably care more about making sure the other team places bad than himself placing good in this, just because that is the kind of off-spawn player that Ferdoxy is, and he wants to be able to keep his off-spawn rep high going into the global championships especially. Radion's trio though also doesn't have a LAN spot secured like Ferdoxy does, so they are just at so many different disadvantages if they choose to contest Ferdoxy. Now another big one that we're gonna have to keep our eye on here is Mongrel, Haido, and Kaijo versus Perdodge, Contri, and Finnick versus I, Lucia, Wee, and Nefrizzi. Now this is three real grand finals caliber trios right here. So far from a lot of the things that I have seen, it looks like Perdodge's team is the one that is the best off spawn here currently. This is just another really unfortunate fight though, because I really want to see all three of these teams do well in grand finals. We saw Lucia, Wee, and Nefrizzi do super good during the Star Wars season, literally winning multiple cash cups. Obviously Mongrel, fan favorite, everything like that, and Perdodge is also one of the most fun personalities in the entire comp scene, and these three contesting each other off spawn, with two of them literally streaming, will be fun to watch in a grand finals, but I don't think the ceiling for any of these teams would be qualifying for LAN if they are all contesting each other. A team though that I really do think is going to be able to qualify for LAN this season is Pink, Nebs, and Kiro. Now there is two other teams that are currently claiming the first order base as well, but of course this is before grand finals or anything like that happens, so you kind of just got to make your own predictions on whether or not you think Amoz's trio and Battered Cry's trio will be able to make grands, and even if they do, are they still going to want to go to the first order base? But if Pink is uncontested, he is definitely going to be one of the LAN qualifying favorites. Now a trio that might potentially be one of our only French representations at this entire LAN, they are now completely uncontested, of Akira, Kurma, and Wurex. Like I've been saying, there's just so many good teams that need to be able to qualify for LAN, but if we are going to get a French team at LAN, I think it is probably going to be these guys. Under them we have like Comeback Blaha and Shark versus Sandguild, Loki, and QB. Both of these teams I probably would have to say are grand finals caliber teams, and these guys will probably end up fighting in grands as well. Pigstorm and Demas, if these guys are able to get uncontested Utopia City in grand finals, definitely have to have FNCS winning potential no matter how bad they have looked this season. These guys have shown that when they are able to make it to grand finals, even if they have a rough day 2, they can almost pull off top 5s at will. But I think if they are going to be contested in grand finals, then their floor is going to be their worst ever FNCS performance together, which in hindsight would only be 6th place or lower, but I don't think they're going to be able to pull off another top 5 if they're conned in grands. A team that has just completely flipped their off-spawn rep around of Vico, Vino, and Flixie are one of the very few teams on this entire map, if I zoom out a little bit, that are completely uncontested. They have a fully unconned brutal boxcars with this entire mountain, the gas station, everything like that. This team is going to be absolutely looted up. They're 100% in FNCS winning potential. I think this is a double-edged sword though, because if this team isn't able to place inside of probably even the top 3, I think a lot of people are going to have a lot of doubts about these guys going into the global championship. Season 1 they won FNCS. The most recent season they finished in 6th place with literal no drop spot on day 1, and then they were contested on day 2, and now in season 3 with a fully unconned brutal boxcars, their expectations are top 3 or bust. A couple of teams that I'm very excited to see how they do this FNCS is Thomas HD, Sky, and Scroll. This is probably going to be another one of my LAN predicts right here, and I really do think that if they are playing at their max potential on both day 1 and day 2, and if they do get a fully uncontested rainbow split, this really could be a potential grand finals winning team. Another trio that I'm very excited for is like Kamihari and iDrop right here at Kappa Kappa Factory. Being triple contested though could be really rough for them, especially since they are still trying to be able to qualify for globals, and I do just have to be the first one to say that if this team is contested in grand finals, I will not be predicting them to qualify for LAN. Some other teams that I probably won't be predicting to qualify for LAN if they are contested is pretty much just all 3 of these guys right here, between Vidil's trio, Stato's trio, and Snazy's trio. One of the most random off-spawn fights we have on this entire map is this one right here between Queasy, Swizzy, and Murstache, Podesai, X-Squeeze, and Artskill, and Malibuka, Ping, and Walks. This was originally just Malibuka's drop spot, then Queasy pulled up, and people were like, oh, this is going to be like the EU version of Peterbot versus Poyo, and then out of nowhere, the Frenchies and a trio that doesn't have a land spot secured either also decided to involve themselves in this off-spawn mess, and now Demon's Domain on EU is triple contested. I still don't even really know how much I really believe that these guys are actually going to stick to their word and land here in something like a grand finals. I think if they're able to qualify for grands, they have to realize that they have almost little to no chance to be able to actually make land from triple contesting 2 other LAN teams. But this is going to be a very interesting situation to see how it goes down. We have a whole cluster of teams right here between Twi's trio and a bunch of other people. One of our LAN goats of Trulex is currently also in a difficult situation, fighting a very uphill battle currently, with him most likely going to be contested at Foxy, and I feel like not very many people are even talking about these guys for being a potential FNCS qualifying trio. We have 2 fully unconned down here, Moneymaker versus Gross at Canyon Crossing, most likely a fight that we are going to see off spawn in grands. I wouldn't be surprised if by the time grand finals came around, if Tayson, Hurst, and Chicho were fully unconned at Crime City. I really really just don't think there is any point for anybody that does not have a land spot to con somebody that does. We have Triprim versus Nathan at Outlaw, Yanis, Noah, Riley, and Kidwo versus Kiri, Prism, and Casper at Shiny Shafts. And then one of our last big EU off spawn fights is Seti, Panzer, and Yapko versus Asajj Trio and Twex Trio. Now, Seti really struggled off spawn in the only Div Cup finals that they made. I'm pretty sure they only won 1 out of the 6 total matches there. So Seti and Cammy so far, ever since they have split, have also kind of kept that bad off spawn rep that has been lingering over their heads for really the past almost year and a half at this point, if not longer. I really do love the potential of Seti, Panzer, and Yapko. I think they are 100% a land caliber trio, but if they are contested, once again, I don't know if I'm going to want to predict them to be able to qualify for globals. Here is, if you guys want to see it, the fully zoomed out map with all of the many trios on it. Let's actually move on to what NA is currently looking like. All right, now one potential wild card thing in this whole entire drop spot situation that I haven't talked about yet is, of course, the Superman POI. Now, this thing is coming out on July 15th, so literally just a day before I filmed this. The only reason why I didn't really wait until after this POI came out to make this video is because I feel like the overall just general consensus between people right now is that the Superman POI is just gonna be trash. We haven't seen any pros try to like early claim it or anything like that. The thing with this POI is it is most likely going to be at the bottom of the map, or I think it is already confirmed to be at the bottom of the map. Like, I think somebody can quote me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure it's going to be around down here. So it is going to be really difficult to be able to get surge tags around you on people. It doesn't look like there's going to be the most insane loot there either, but we could get hit with an absolute curveball, and this POI could be potentially one of the best POIs on the entire map, and nobody even knows it yet. I think it is still a potential option for pretty much anybody that is contested off spawn, but also at the same time, with anything that does come out that is new, there is going to be a good amount of people that do get desperate and just decide to go there. So I wouldn't be surprised if some people left a contested POI to go and land at another contested POI. Let's move on to NA though, where you can see that most of our people that are FNCS winning potential are uncontested, except for the big one that we will talk about in a little bit. But we have our potential land teams like Mud Shadow and Sphinx. They are currently in a very good position going into FNCS. I also really like what I have seen out of this trio in the tournaments that they have played together as well. A team that I necessarily can't say the same for yet is Coopery and Curly at Flooded Frogs. This should be a team that is in FNCS winning potential, especially after coming off of a 3rd place last season. This season though, they just really haven't looked that hot. Now, no, I'm not saying that this team is going to finish like outside of the top 10 or anything, but I don't think that this is one of the potential FNCS favorites for this season either. A team that should be the main far and away FNCS favorite though is the team at Supernova Academy of Clicks, Yamzo, and Higgs. They have arguably the first or the second best POI on the map, completely uncontested. They've been practicing there all season long, and the other 2 best trios of Peterbot, Code, and Ritual are fighting off spawn. If this team doesn't win grand finals, I think people will really start to have real doubts on whether or not Clicks will ever be able to win an FNCS. We have a lot of other people uncontested around this side of the map, like Sales, Death, and Encrypted. And if we skip down to this off spawn fight over here, I have been having conversations with Curve, and he says that as of right now, they are going to be sticking at Outpost, but I also don't really see any reason why they wouldn't just switch over to the first order base. We know that they are currently in that whole ongoing drama with Aviv and everything like that, and Rise and G-Money have since dropped Aviv and are now looking for a new 3rd. We don't 100% know who that is actually going to be yet. One of the main people that I thought it was going to be was potentially Osid. We know G-Money and Osid have the chemistry in the past. Osid is also coming off of finishing in 7th place in the last Div Cup as well. But I was talking to Osid, and it looks like he is not going to be playing with Rise in G-Money because he is not currently on 0 ping. But I really don't know what other potential options Rise and G-Money are going to go with, unless they're going to go with somebody like Skittles. But hey, we got the Eval Cup tomorrow, so I guess we will see then. But I also wouldn't be surprised if by the time FNCS Grands comes around, if Rise has Outpost completely uncontested, and then Curve, Josh, and Tyler also have first order base. We have some other off spawn fights like King, Phaser, and PH Zen, the Brazil FNCS GOAT versus Chaos Noah W plays in Kaz. Now, King's Trio does have a land spot secured, and I honestly wouldn't be surprised if by the time Grand Finals came around, they also had an uncontested Lone Wolf layer. We have Chance, Dukes, and Edgy also getting a fully uncontested Brutal Boxcars, pretty much the exact same split that Vino is getting. We have Booga, Craze, and Threats at an uncontested Utopia City. This is another one of those teams that I think are the main favorites to be able to qualify for LAN. I think really the 3 teams that haven't even qualified for LAN yet are all potential FNCS winners between Booga's trio, Kanata's trio, and maybe even if you want to throw in Muzz's trio to that mix as well. It's so crazy that on NA, just because of the fact that Peterbot and Poyo are contesting each other, it really does leave the door wide open for so many of these other teams that haven't even qualified for LAN yet to potentially win an FNCS spawn. And then, like I was just saying, we all know the off spawn fight between Peterbot versus Poyo. In tournaments, it has been going heavily in favor of Poyo, but in scrims, Peterbot has been starting to catch up now. I do have to say that Poyo, Acorn, and Adris have been grinding a lot more than Peterbot's trio. I think we do just have to say that both of these teams do have top 3 potential in grand finals. I think it is going to be nearly impossible for either of these teams to win grands unless they go like 9-3 off spawn versus the other one. But hey, we just saw Adris, Acorn, and Poyo win a Div Cup while being contested by Peter off spawn. I just think that FNCS is a whole different beast, and I think it is going to be very difficult for one of these teams to be like far and away better than the other one off spawn. A team that has been pretty quiet so far this season of Braids, Diminish, and Visuals at Foxy Floodgate. People are starting to say that this team is washed up. They're a Mickey Mouse land qualified team. So I am very excited to see what they will actually be able to pull off this season. I mean, the only team that's currently going to first order base is Zavi, Neko, and Fishy. So I guess it's just going to come down to would Curves Trio rather contest Rise at Outpost or Zavi at first order. And then the only real West news that we have was Miro ended up getting dropped from his trio, and now he is looking for a completely new trio. He said looking for trio for West, Uncon Frogs, just listen. I really don't know what kind of options Miro is going to get on West. I feel like Enact and Z-Link were probably going to be some of his best potential teammate options. I have seen people throw out the possibility of him playing with Rise and G-Money, but I don't think that would be possible on Central because I don't think that Miro is Div 1 on Central. So that would mean that Rise and G-Money would have to play West, which maybe could be a potential option, but I just don't know where the cards go from here for Miro in the future now. It seems like a lot of the pros just don't think that Miro is what he used to be. So if Rise wasn't willing to play with Osid because he was on high ping, I don't know how willing he's going to be to wanting to play with Miro, who hasn't played an official tournament in like almost a year at this point. And then of course, our other new big West team is Virgo, Bucky, and Okist on West. They said that they are landing at Foxy plus getting the island every single game for FNCS. This is a team that I'm very excited about. I've talked about them very highly ever since they formed. They have looked super good in scrims, and they are a real potential LAN qualifying trio as well. Other than that though, remember, if everything changes by tomorrow with the brand new Superman POI, I'll try to make an updated version of this when I talk about the Eval Cup tomorrow. Remember, subscribe to the channel if you guys are new, as we try our best to upload daily competitive content for you guys. If you guys want to support me even more, the best way to do so is by using code KDOG in the Fortnite item shop. YouTube says enjoy Winnie's 2 videos up on the screen right now, so go check them out if you guys haven't already. Thank God for another day, and I'll catch you guys next time. Peace out.